Hope here at Crafty Hope, and welcome. It is day 3 of the 100-day project and my hashtag not precious project, in which I am taking things that I have in my head made too precious to use and using them. So it is a crazy day. It's a Tuesday, which means grocery shopping and laundry and all that for me, in addition to whatever like artful things I want to get done. So today I'm going to do something fairly simple, or at least start on something fairly simple that I've been wanting to do for a while. So my word of the year is also action, and this kind of all plays into that. So I have gathered, and this was in my little bucket of things that I had curated, and I'll probably end up with some scraps that I will also need to use. So let me show you the papers I have, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to alter a little board book. I think I have 3 of these that I picked up at a thrift store, and yeah, I've been wanting to do a little altered board book with some of my papers, and so yeah, let me show you the papers I've got. Most of them are like rust dyed. This is some washi, which means paper in Japanese, that a friend of mine sent me. So I've got several little pieces here that I can use. And this is deli paper that's been, I think, rust and turmeric dyed. I don't even know if this was an eco print or coffee. It may have been a coffee dye. I don't know. It's just a fun piece of paper. This is a handwritten note I found, probably stuffed in a book. Some beautiful eco prints. Now, I think I used the rest of these pages in my curio that I altered. I think I've got maybe a short of that I can share. So I've got those, another eco print, a handwritten letter, a beautiful National Geographic map, some typed letters from the 40s, super rusty dies, more of some typed letter, and then this is I don't know if it's rust or coffee or both, but it's just a printout of some pictures, and I think these must have been pictures from a printable or something that somebody had shared, and I printed them out and I stuffed them in a coffee dye or something. So some of these, like these, aren't going to be the backing papers. I can maybe cut them out, especially some of these little ones, and use them inside. But to start, I'm going to start small, because my goal is not to use 100 things or make 100 things, but it's to spend 100 days working with these items. So I haven't decided. This piece is already cut down. I used it in my assemblage yesterday, so I'm thinking maybe not start with that, because I've already handled that one. But what about one of these gorgeous pieces? Yeah, I think one of them would be fun, and I kind of want to just do each page something different. And if I need to put maybe some of my precious dyed fabric in the center to give it flexibility, I may do that. I might do that for the back as well, because I haven't decided how to cover this. So I do have some matte gel medium and a paintbrush off to the side, and I'm gonna get to it. Oh, eek. Let's make this less precious. So I am going to cover all of the surfaces of this. I've sped this up 4 times because this video is a super repetitive process. You can go ahead and go down into that settings if you want and speed it up even more if you'll click that little cog looking thing. But basically for each of these, I'm putting down a nice layer of the matte gel medium with a paintbrush and trimming away the excess. So this page here, what did I use? That was some of that. I am not even sure what it is. It's eco printed, and I think it's from I don't even know. It just eco printed really well. It was something that looked like it had like nutritional information. I've got a book that has like, it's typed up meal plans or something. It's nutritional information. I don't even know. It was something I think I found in a bargain bin at a thrift store. So in some of these, I'm trying to cut down the size. Some of them I'm gluing them first. And yeah, so I'm going to voice this over, but there's nothing, I don't know that there's gonna be anything groundbreaking in here. I do each of these just a little bit different, kind of learning along the way. And yeah, so I could probably speed this up a little bit more. You can see this one I'm tearing away some of the excess, and then I'll come in with the scissors, and cut it away. And I will leave these to dry once I get that on there. I'm going to leave that to dry, but first, I decide to ink these, giving them even more of an age feel, and also to cover up some of those cut edges. I'm using Walnut Stain Distress ink to do that. And some of these I will go ahead and put a little bit of the same paper in the center of them to cover that crease. For some of these, I found that tore afterwards, and so when I come in to do these individual pages later, I will share that with you. So this is going to be a several video process. I'm not even sure yet. I haven't looked at my files to tell you how many videos this takes up. But this process of covering this board book took me 4 days, and that's all 5 of the spreads, the front, the back, and the spine. And that's what that's what I'm showing you in this video. I'm gonna apologize. There'll be some gaps in some of this, simply because I was struggling with some batteries that were dying, that have been around far too long. So this is going to be a little splotchy. I will try to cover the gaps as we go through this. So I noticed as soon as this one dried that it was no longer closing well. So any amount of bulk added to these board books means they do not have that beautiful little perfect closure that they have when you get them. So that's what it is. Now, to trim off the extra little bitty bits of the paper on the edges, I am using a sanding block. This is a medium fine grit one that I went around the edges, and you can see on this, the pages moving forward, before I add my matte gel medium, I will also sand those just a little bit to give them some tooth, so that these stick a little bit more and there's not any sliding. So again, I put down my matte gel. Yeah, and see that I still got some sliding there. So I am putting matte gel over the top of them. That's going to help also seal in some of the papers themselves, I felt like. So that was just, an extra little precaution on my part. Now this one I did not want to close, to tear it down. Battery died there. I finished that one up and came back the next day because I think I had run out of batteries at that point. So that one, what was that one that I used? That I think was some of my ledger paper that I love so much. No, that was the map. I'm sorry. That was the National Geographic map. This is some of that rust dyed music paper. I just love it. Isn't it gorgeous? I don't know how I got such a good rest on that one. So this one I am trying to go across the page rather than do 2 separate sections. Just trying different things, trying to see what works. And this one did absolutely tear. I had problems with this one in many, many different ways. And I don't know if it was the paper or the effect of the rust or what. But I am, again, putting down the matte gel on top of this to seal that rust in. And here's a little snippet that I had cut off that I'm going to put in the center to try to protect that crease a little bit. All of these creases will end up, when I do the spreads, will end up having something else added to them. Now, on several of these pages, when I tore the outer edges or cut them, the papers did tear, so I take some of the little bits of scraps and put it over them and come back and trim them later. Yeah, so this here in the center needed additional matte gel. And I come back and I trimmed that, and I am inking at those edges. Again, using, what did I say? Walnut Stain Distress ink and an ink blender. And yeah, the more I put in there, the less this closes. And y'all, when I come to start adding things to that, I'm going to totally ride that train of this book just isn't going to close. So get prepared for the next several parts of this. So there's at least 5 because I will do the spreads, and then another couple because I do the front cover and the back cover, and I add to the spine. And yeah, I can't remember how I divided this one up, but it's got some parts to it. Now this, y'all, is one of my most precious ever papers. It is a ledger paper with this gorgeous eco print on it, but it's a scrap piece because I used a big bulk of it in that curio I mentioned before, and I need to not make it precious. It's something that's gorgeous and needs to be used. And through this whole project, I'm recording this on day, at least this voiceover on day 26, and I'm, still struggling quite a bit with using these things, covering them up, saving them for something special. And that's the thing, is it's up to me to make this special. And I truly and honestly believe that I did that with this board book. There are so many pages in this. Now, they're not all my favorite, I'll tell you that much, but I am so thrilled with what I did with this little board book and some papers and some other precious items. The center of this one split pretty quickly and was bulky, and so you can see I am trying to ink up that center and cover up the white of the board book that was kind of poking through. So I used that distress ink quite a bit to do that. When it comes to actually doing that page, I will do some other things. You'll see that when we get to that. Hopefully, now that I'm finished with Junk Journal January, maybe I can start sharing some of these 100-day projects with you a little bit more. So this is the last spread in here. So the one that I put down for the previous one was that ledger paper. And then this one is some kind of vintage book that I did an eco print on. So yeah, a lot of these are eco printed, a little bit of rust dye, a little bit of, I think that nutritional one. No, that one was eco printed. I don't know what I got in here. Mostly eco prints, I think, and a rust dye right smack dab in the center. So, and I'm doing the same process with this, I think I was trying to keep the wording up and down just in case, so that it didn't bother me so much if everything was upside down. But the words themselves in this aren't super special. When I do this spread, I think there's one little phrase in it that kind of pops out at me that I really like, something about magic. But I think, let me look, I've got this, it's sitting in front of me. I don't think it even, no, I can't see it. I covered it up. So yeah, I needed to not make that precious as well. All right, so once I get this done, I think I'm going to go ahead and start on the front cover with this one. And again, I am sanding down the front, back, the spine, all of that, trying to give it a little bit of tooth. And for the front cover, I decided to do horizontal stripes of some of that excess, some of the stuff I trimmed off and had laying around. And even that one, I trimmed it down just a little bit to get it down to size. But yeah, some of these scraps, I mean, they're not precious either. I need to use them. So I'm laying these over, trying to get some of the bits that I think are the most interesting to kind of peek out and show, because I don't know what I'm going to add to the front of this cover yet. And y'all, I have to tell you, I love what I did to this cover. The front cover more so than the back cover. But we'll get to that. Again, this is all coming down the pipes. I actually think the cover may be the next video you'll get to see. I think that's what I did first. I basically worked front to back with this. So, I am going to finish covering up this with these, did I say horizontal stripes? Vertical stripes. Y'all, I know better. And then when I finish this up, I will come back the next day and kind of start before I turned my camera on, which was crazy, and I'll realize. But for some reason, I decided to gesso the spine with some black gesso. I think I felt like the title of that board book was showing through everything I tried to put down, and I just wanted to cover it up. So here in just a second, yeah, I have put some black gesso on that, and you're going to see me dry it super quick. And then I will work on the back cover with, this time, horizontal stripes, not vertical. And through this whole thing, I used that same brush. I kept a jar of water on my desk that was just paint water, and I only put, not paint water, that was just gluey paintbrush water, and I kept from putting any of my other paintbrushes in it, and because this is just a glue brush. Strictly a glue brush. Okay, so once I get these horizontal strips down for this back cover, and do some scraping to make sure everything's flat, I will trim it off and then start thinking about what I want to do on the spine. And the first thing I do is I cover it with a little bit more, I think, of that book paper. We'll see. That the paper that's I used right there, see, that book is not closing. Yeah, and we will totally ride that train. Coffee had to come into view, didn't it? Somehow I got matte gel all over me. Okay, guys, and I'm going to tell you the last thing is I will have pictures of all of these pages for y'all at the end of this. Some of these are going to be a little wonky because I forgot to save them before I put them on Instagram and forgot to take pictures before I moved on to the next step. So I had to take some of these pictures from my Instagram. So the orientation of them and all that is a little bit wonky. You can, of course, go over to Instagram and see those pictures as well. Find me, I'm Crafty Hope, over on Instagram. So for my last little steps for the spine, for right now, I've decided to put a little bit of fabric on it because it does move. I was afraid any paper I put there was just going to crack and get really brittle and all of that. So I decided some fabric would be super fun. And this is some rust-dyed tea towel. Flour sack towel that I'm going to put over it, and then on top of it I'm going to put a little piece of lace that's got some rust on it from a rust dye. So lots of rust and eco dyes. Just these are the things I have saved and put aside as precious and shouldn't be used. Now I am using a Fabri-Tac for this, and I think, can you tell, I'm only putting it on the outside edges, like where the front cover and the back cover are, so that it has that movement and there's not a whole lot of restriction in the middle of that fabric. Now you can see this is the corner from I think it's a napkin that I used when I did that rust dye, and I was trying to decide exactly how I want it to lay. One side of this one edge is torn and it was bothering me. And I was like, you know what? Why does it matter? Because this whole thing is stuff that's discolored and a little wonky and all of that. So I'm going to use the Fabri-Tac again to stick it down. And then that's going to be it for days 3, 4, 5, and 6 of the 100-day project, in which I am altering a little board book. So if you have any questions about this, please don't hesitate to ask. If you like it, give me that thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe. All of those help me get seen and help me grow this community. So I really appreciate the encouragement too, guys. I honestly do. Thanks so much for watching. I will see y'all for days 5, I think, soon. I don't know what day. What did I say? 7. Oh, I'll see y'all then. Bye.